Okay, I think it's time to get started now, even if there might be still one or two people joining us a bit late. Now, first of all, welcome to this webinar. My name is Benjamin Hertz. I am the coordinator of the European Schoolnet Academy and partly sort of guiding you through this course. Now, it's my pleasure today to host this webinar on the topic of what do students want to learn about computing. What we're going to do is I'll say a few words about the organization of the webinar, how we're going to sort of interact with each other, and then I'll introduce Christian Borowski, our speaker for today's webinar, and pass over to him, and he'll be giving a presentation for about, I think, 20 to 30 minutes or so, and then after that, there's time for some questions. Now, you do not have the opportunity to actually use your microphone, so to speak in this webinar, but you can voice questions and comments and concerns, and please do so via the chat. You should all see a chat box on the right-hand screen of the WebEx window. Just make sure that when posting a comment or a question, that you send it to all participants and not just to the hosts and the presenter, because we want to make sure that everybody sees all the questions and comments that are coming up. And after Christian's presentation, I will be relaying those questions and comments to him so that he can respond to them. So if you have a question already during his presentation, do please post it already in the chat box, and we can pick it up after his presentation. Now, we are quite a small group today, so that gives a lot of opportunity, I think, for raising some of the issues that are relevant for you. I've already suggested that everybody introduces themselves in the chat. Just say a quick word where you're from. I've already seen we've got quite a few people from lots of different locations, even someone from Peru joining us today, where it is 11 in the morning. So welcome to you too. Now the webinar will be recorded, and the PowerPoint will be attached to that recording. So of course, please do take notes if you want to, but you will receive access to the PowerPoint and to the webinar recording afterwards, and that will be posted in the main course interface on the course, so in the live webinar section where you found the information about this webinar. Now I'd like to hand over to Christian. Christian is a teacher, a primary school teacher, so he has a similar kind of background than most of you, because I think many of you are actively working in primary schools, but he's also been working as a researcher at the University of Oldenburg, the Karl von Ossietzky University, where he's been involved in, I found, a very interesting, exciting project, because this topic of computing is, well, when I first came to it, which is actually quite recently, it can be a bit baffling in the sense that, the term computing is very broad, very general, and many people understand lots of different things about it. So the idea of asking students what they want to learn about computing and to use that as a guiding mechanism for what we focus on in our teaching, I thought was a very interesting approach. So I'm very curious to hear from Christian about the results of this research project. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass over now to Christian to tell us what do students want to learn about computing. So Christian, okay. I'm passing over the presenter. All to you.
Yes, yes, I have the ball. Now I'm the presenter. Thank you. Hello, Peru. Hi, Ben. Thank you for having me first. Normally I speak German, and my English is I learned it at school, and it's a long time ago. But I hope it's good enough for today. Okay. Benjamin said very good things, so I'm finished. No, it's a joke. Okay, something about me. I'm a teacher, yes, that's right, but I'm not a teacher for primary school. I'm a teacher for special education needs, and I work at primary school. And as a teacher for special education needs, it's normal to look very near to the pupils as a primary teacher, you may look at the group, and and I'm a teacher who look very ask. For me, it's normal to ask the pupils what they want to know, because it's important to learn. They didn't want to learn if they don't know why they should have to learn it, or if they are not motivated. So it's important for me to know what a person know or want to know, to talk with him or with her. Okay. I made my slides on Monday. Okay. This is a German. Did you see the pointer, the mouse pointer? Benjamin, please give me a sign. Can you see the mouse pointer?
No.
Only.
You can.
Okay. No.
Christian, can you hear me?
I have a pen. Okay.
You have a pen.
I have a pen. Okay. I have a pen. I found the pen. Good. First of all, if it's a German slide. If we're talking about computing or informatics or other terms, we will talk later. There are different groups who are talking about it, or different groups with different opportunities and over different things they want to know. We have the teachers and the parents. They may think about internet research or PowerPoint and Word, and or the parents, and they want to have a good future for the pupils. They should have a good job and should have good what are notes, rates? They should be good at school. And then we have the research and the politicians, and they may say programming is at the moment famous. In Germany, you should do programming at primary school. That's very famous. You can use Logo as a language, a programming language, or you can use Lego things, or you can use Scratch. And Unplugged is a project who work without computers, and so the pupil can learn something about informatics or computing without computers. They learn how the things work. And there are the students, and the students may have different questions. And I'm focused on the students. That's, for me, the way to get into the world of informatics or into the lessons. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about some different terms. Computing is famous. We will look later at the computing term and look to England. They use computing at the moment, and there you can see what computing means. I come from informatics. Informatics is that what we made, what we call it, what we're doing. And informatics is a little bit more than computer science. It's a little bit confusing with the terms, but computer science is more about the computers, and informatics looks to computer science and human society as well. We are looking how the computers change our world as well. Not as our main focus, but we look at it. And computer science is an old term, I would say. So it's important if what term we mean or what we take, because if I looking for computer science, I may didn't look at the society and the changes computings are making. Okay. So what my first question, I should take questions, Benjamin said. My first question is, what term would you prefer? Computing, informatics, computer science, or another term? I will look later at the questionnaire.
Christian, sorry, just I'll just activate the poll so we can just see what people think about this. So
Okay.
just give me a second. I'm going to take over the presenter ball again.
Okay. Nope.
I'll activate the poll, and then everybody now has the chance to. Be the case. You should be seeing a question now popping up.
Okay.
And you should be able to answer what term would you prefer, or what term do you use when you talk about this topic. And we have answers coming in at the moment. So, still missing 10 of you. Some of you are posting it into the chat. Computing. So I'll give it about 20 more seconds before I close the poll.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna close the poll. So I'm gonna share the results with you now. So
okay.
you should be seeing the results now.
Computing is the one. Okay.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to pass over the presenter ball back to you so you can control it.
Okay. Okay, I have it. Okay, let's go on. Computing. Right poll result. In the English curriculum, what is famous as well, you have different. Computing means different things. I think it means computer science, information technology, and digital literacy. I think I should do this better. Okay, and you can see that the competencies that the students should have, and so you can see what they should learn. Pupils can analyze problems in computational terms and have repeated practical experience of writing computer programs in order to solve such problems. That's mean computer science. All pupils can evaluate and apply information technology, including new or unfamiliar technologies, analyzing to solve problems. That means information technology. And digital literacy means the responsibility. All peoples are responsible and competent, confident, and creative users of information and communication technology. That means computing. So it's for me okay. It means all things that I find that's important. So there's some very old. Oh, I go away. There's some very old and nice site from 1983. There was a conference, and that I love very much because it tells us or me what's really important if we use computers at school, or we make computer science, or we make informatics at school. It starts with the aim of elementary education is to help every child reach his or her full human potential and archive social, emotional, and mental maturity. And I like that. That's the goal of the elementary education, or the aim of elementary education, is the beginning of the definition. And then when computers, and in 1983 computers was the important thing we talk about, are instructed into school, we should be concerned about 3 levels of use: technical level, how and when to use them; the understanding level, why the computers bringing the results they do. That's for me computer science, a little bit. And the reflective level, the personal and the societal values involved in using them. That's important. That's what's informatics, the informatics side for me. Okay, this one I like too. Good. Today, we don't use the computers term. I go back here, computers. We don't need computers. We use information and communication technology, or we need informatic systems. It's more German term. Or we use phenomena of informatics. That's by Ludger Humbert and Puhlmann, a term who brought it up, and it means we look more the things, as they say, we have three different phenomena. Some with the computers, where the computer systems are, you can see, like a computer, or in the supermarket you can't see the computers. That are other phenomena, or you have phenomena where informational thinking or informatic thinking or computational thinking is happen. That's not connected really with the computers or the informatic systems. You can't see it. So, but the other part of the levels, I think it's still valid. And if you think about computers, you have or informatics or computing, you have to think about these three levels. I think it's very important. That's why I put it here. Okay, let's come back now. You wait a long time after doing some term definitions. We will go to the students and what we have done in Oldenburg. Okay, we did this questionnaire with students or pupils from 8 to 10 years old. We did it in 2010 and 2011, and we did it again in 2012 and 2013. Or 2013, but we haven't yet took the papers, the questions, the questionnaires, and looked what are in it. We asked the students, what do you want to know if you met someone who knows everything about computers, handies, robotics, etc.? What would you ask him or her? And the students get 10 minutes to answer the question. Okay, you see a questionnaire here. It's in German. Here are some answers for who are familiar with German. It's may interested. Okay, I go on. Maybe we look later at it. Oh, okay. Now my question: what would you ask the experts before we get to the before we go to the answers of the students? You have a little time to put some questions in the chat. What happened if you know somebody who knows everything?
So as Christian said, if you could just briefly think about this and maybe post a couple of questions you would have if you would have someone who knows everything about computers, and post that into the chat. We'll give it maybe sort of 1 or 2 minutes, Christian, I think. So
yes,
we can
yes.
think about it.
Sure. I'm on the chat now. I look and wait.
Yes. Just on a side note, I'm a bit concerned because there's a lot of people who say they can't see the presentation. We have the first question from Isabel. Could you explain us how a network works?
That will be a good question for the expert. We need him very fast.
Okay, just to check, there are a couple of you who are saying that you can't see the presentation itself. That's obviously a big shame. If you see at the top of the window, there should be tabs, and usually you should be seeing actually the presentation if the presenter chooses different tabs. But just try clicking on one of the other tabs, and it should say webinar, what do students want to learn about computing? And that should show you the presentation slides.
Oh.
Okay, it seems like there's quite a few of you who can't see the actual presentation. So what I'll do is I'll send over a link to it so you can download it. But you'll have to see a second. Okay, I've just posted in the chat a link to the presentation. So if for some reason you can't see the actual presentation slides, then you can download the presentation here. It's very strange because it's working for me and on my test account here, which I have at the side. Could somebody please confirm if you're seeing the presentation, or is it everybody not seeing the presentation? Okay, so then there must be some kind of issue at the end of the people who aren't seeing them. Maybe a bandwidth issue, but if you can, yeah, okay, so there's quite a few of you who are saying that you can see it. So if you can't see it, please use the link in the chat, the Dropbox link, and you can download the presentation there. Christian, we should slowly start moving on. Just going to have a quick look at the questions. So what does the future hold for schools and ICT? What is the very first thing we should explain to the students? Computers, computational thinking, languages.
Okay.
I think that the HERS scenario can be possible, and I think this person is referring to the film from Spike Jonze, where the main character in the film starts a relationship with a computer. So the computer is very human-like. Do you think that's realistic? And yeah, and then the question about the networks. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think
now I will go on. Okay.
Yep, that's okay.
Go on. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Now the pupil questions. Okay. We collected 606 questionnaires and received 2,549. 94. Oh, English. Not questions. And it covers more than 606 pupils because some pupils did the questionnaire as a group. We classified the questions. We do a lot of work with the questions. What I'm today showing is the result of a master thesis. It's from Henning Wilken. He did over 3,000 codings at the material and get some categories and some subcategories. Okay. The main categories was internet, computer, robots, mobile, sound and picture, console, game console, general questions about computing, and then non-related ICT topics and something about games, and the rest is non-available. We didn't know what it's not part of the. No, the 60 questions we couldn't read. We couldn't use it for our program. Interested is that games and game consoles was not part of the question. I go back and we ask for computers, handys, mobile, and robots. And we don't ask for games or game console. So it's interested, in my opinion. Okay, here the categories and some subcategories and some example questions, so that you can know what we mean with the category. Internet as a non-specified and detailed question was what means internet. Then we have development questions. Who has invented the internet? Why did he do that? It's very interesting. I found. Because this question, why he do that, or then the operations, how the internet works, the ability, what can I do with the internet, or the production, is the internet in the mobile phone the same as in computer? And then some questions about security and stability. What is a hacker? Can you destroy the internet? You see there the questions are very, very deep. The students asked very interested questions which are difficult to answer. And if we go on to the game consoles, there are the category. The questions can give us same categories. That's interested. You will see it later. You have the question: who has invented the Nintendo DS, etc. Okay, or is a Nintendo good for our brain? I think it's maybe questions they ask. They get the question from the parents. They say it's not good for you. Okay. At the end, now I have here more questions. You may look later. The important thing is the benefit, but for you I show at the end here are all categories, general questions, so you can see what this means and what we said, what non-special, not related IC topics, like questions about automobile or heels. Also, we coded it as non-related IC topics. Okay, but the important thing is, if you're a teacher and you ask your pupils, you may get nervous because you will get a lot of questions you may never answer. But you have to know that if you take all questions, you may have 5 things to answer. The historical development of the informatic system you use, and it doesn't matter if it's a robot or a computer or a mobile phone or so on. You have to know something about the operation, how it works, the ability, what can I do with it, or the structure and how it is to program, and the stability and the security of the system. Okay, so you have a feeling that you may have now a feeling that the questions, some questions you can answer because you do it every day. You do every day answer some historical questions, maybe, of the historical development, and you can talk about the ability, what can I do with something, in other terms. Maybe if you talk about electricity or about some other things at school. And so I would say, as a teacher, you may be able to help your students to understand the historical development or explore the ability, the security and the stability of informatic systems, because you do it often with other topics. And be brave, feel free to explore it with your students. I think if you make a circle with your students and talk about it, you can explore a lot of things. Or if you go to the internet, you can explore the development, who invented it also. That's not very technical and not very difficult. You can do it. And in the other terms, in the other areas, where you have to answer questions about programming and maybe security, some things, you have to go deeper, and you may need experts. They have to help you, and that's my. I think that have didactics of informatics or computer science education have to do. They have to give you things and parts that's difficult, or where you have to dive deeper in the world of computer science. Okay, and so I'm finished.
Okay. Could we maybe, before we move on to some questions, could we maybe go back to the slide where all the questions, or a lot more of the questions, are shown?
Okay.
I think right at the end, I think you have these questions, because I think that's really interesting for everybody to take a closer look at. Sort of the type of questions that are raised there by the students. So if you're not seeing this in the WebEx, then go to the end of the presentation and maybe take a moment to just browse through these kind of questions and think about, could you answer these questions? Or, well, probably in many cases you won't necessarily be able, but at least you would be able to research them there. And I think for me, really the key message, Christian, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that a lot of these things are not necessarily to do with coding, programming, and understanding the complex sort of inside nature of a computer, but a lot of these are more sort of structural in a way, or historical, or these types of questions, which, as you said, can be or are answered by us in many situations in the classroom anyway. And I think that's, on the one hand, really exciting, because it allows us to see this computer field in a much broader perspective. And for anybody who's coming very new to this subject, I think that can be quite relieving as well, in a way that you don't need to start learning how to code immediately necessarily. On the other hand, of course, it's quite worrying when you have a look at some of the questions like how much energy does a request cost or so? I mean, these are very tricky questions. Or how does a nuclear power station work? I mean, that's a physics question more than anything else. But yeah, I think it's very interesting to have a look at these questions and to see this really as an opportunity, as you said, Christian, for us to shape our lessons in the classroom, maybe taking a slightly different perspective on it than the perspective of just focusing on, okay, what are the computing elements related to it? What is the code behind it, or what are the outcomes behind it? Because a lot of these questions are not linked to this.
I think it's necessary to know something about coding, but it's not all. And you can get into the world of computer science from different perspectives. And sometimes teachers, and I think especially primary teachers, says, "Oh, I know nothing about it, so I don't get the topic. I leave it. It's for me too difficult. I have to know so much things, so much technical things, and it's not easy." But you can see if you want to interest students about technical things or computers or computer science, you have to have many ways to get into the world of computer science or informatics or computing or so on. And I think some some questions will never be or it's answered when it's will be there. Will there be flying cars in the future? We couldn't say it at the moment. And
yeah, but it's never
the result.
Any question to discuss with the students. Will there be flying cars? I think it's similar to the question that I can't remember who it was. One of the participants asked: is the scenario of having a relationship with a computer, as in the film called Her?
Yes,
is that possible?
Yeah.
You know, and those are well, social questions, psychological questions, even political questions, and that's very interesting. Okay, I mean, I think let's see if the participants have any questions. So if you have any question, please post it into the chat. I already see a couple of comments in, so please go ahead and post any questions or comments in the chat, and Christian and I will pick up on them. Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Paula. Well, with difficult questions, we use search for answers together with the children. So, you know, even if we don't have the answer, and I think this kind of process, if we maybe do this process in our classrooms, asking the students what they want to know, that allows us to do that more effectively. Yeah, and I think also relevant comment here from Anika, maybe coding is not relevant for students if they don't know what is happening behind the interface. Of course, that's linked to each other. Any other questions from anybody?
Nope.
Why do children go to school?
Yes, we have there are some questions. I don't have it. At which moment there will be electric Halsbänder? Electric.
What's the English word for that?
Yes.
Bracelets. Neck bracelets. I'm not sure if that's the right English term.
When there will be neck bracelets, the electric neck bracelets for teachers. Some people ask them. And my favorite question everybody wants to know it. I don't have it on the slide. Is it right if you do something, you're clicking something wrong in the internet, you will get for the next year's post from DHL? I return it. Is it right? If you do something wrong in the internet, you will get the next 5 years post only from DHL, from DHL. So, and that shows for me how heavy, stark, how important the students think the internet must be. I do something wrong in the internet, I click something wrong, and the next 5 years I will get post only from one company.
That's an interesting approach, and maybe explain something about how students are trying to get to grasp with this whole framework of the internet and the lack of understanding, and maybe how it's the importance of us to spend more time discussing it. There are a couple of questions coming in now. There's one posting here that he or she had a question from an 11-year-old. Why do we have more hours of computers than music lessons? Is computing more important than music?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Chris, maybe I have an answer to that. That's a tricky one.
It's very tricky because in my country here, the art is going on and informatics is going down. It's going up, and
so. And I think it's important not to really always weigh these two different areas up. I think we're not getting very far from there. Of course, both areas are very important, and we need to find some kind of compromise. But I think if there are no more questions linked directly to the topic of Christian's presentation, I think then we can say thanks to Christian for presenting on this interesting topic here.
If somebody want more about the topic, he can contact me. Sure.
Yes. Okay. So I'll add the information regarding your contact details to the course information. And there's a question where that material can be found in German, and so maybe I can.
Now we are working on it. We are working on a platform where you can browse the questions and where you can make a research on the questions. So you can get all questions about internet, or you can get all questions from all boys or from all girls, or from one questionnaire from one class. So you can research in the questions, but we're working on it. But if you want to have it, you can send me an email and maybe I send it to you. Okay.
Okay, so let's close there. Thank you very much, Christian. Really interesting project there, and I hope everybody's managed to get some insights there into maybe what you can do in the classroom with this. Well, hope to see you back on the course again soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.